I'm Catherine Bruce, and I'm responding to discussion board number 3 about evaluating Jonathan Edwards and his contemporaries. So Jonathan Edwards and his contemporaries were men who had a real burning desire to see people saved and come to Jesus Christ. I think that the preaching and church involvement prior to that time was more of a being preached at rather than being preached to. So when Edwards and his contemporaries came along, it was a very different, they were very concerned about a person's personal relationship with God and personal relationship with Jesus. And Jonathan Edwards was able to speak into that with a skill for vivid imagery and words that seem to penetrate even the hardest of hearts. One of the articles that I read, Samuel Davies, preacher of the Great Awakening, said that the awakening was not one general revival, but a number of sporadic movements, and it was beginning to subside. But then George Whitefield came along, and he was of the same ilk as Jonathan Edwards and Samuel Davies and their contemporaries. He really had a burning desire to see people come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. And so Whitefield was not ashamed to use not propaganda, but advertising and marketing to get the word out, to get people in the seats. And that way he was able to reach an even greater number of people to win souls. And it was almost, I would liken it to the arena preaching of the 70s, where you had Billy Graham and all these other peoples like Explo 72, places where they would fill these great arenas full of people to hear one pastor or maybe two pastors to deliver the message, deliver the gospel, and give people an opportunity to have an altar call and come down and give their lives to Christ. I think that the Jonathan Edwards Great Awakening movement maybe was the first of its kind that set the pattern for many awakenings to come. The Great Awakening, in terms of the pastors that were involved, I think they all came along, and really God works in such wonderful ways that he orchestrated all of these different men with the same burning desire, with the same talents, the same skills, the same gifts, the ability to reach out to people and to counsel with people and to really introduce the gospel to them. I think that God worked everything so that the awakening could take place, so that people could be brought to Christ. And these men were all of the same mind and something of the same approach. And I think that's all the doing of God.